Welcome back, football fans.
There are a lot of really good teams, and it's just one of those times.
It's going to be fun, man, and I've been. There's a lot of style, a lot of speed, a lot of talent across the board.
He's that general out there and he can sling it. And
Welcome back, New Jersey football fans, to the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. Here with Tim McAneney, it's Mark Trible at Studio B. Rod Self is behind the glass here. Big weekend, doesn't get any bigger than this, really. We got postseason now, 10 Central/South Finals, Mac. This weekend we got some non-pub action as well. We're going to touch on
sectional final weekend. It's huge. Get some hardware on the shelf. Color's the trophy? Blue front?
I don't know.
I think it's blue front.
Is it still blue?
I think it's blue front. I think.
A lot of action, like I said, a lot to touch on. We've got, some really great matchups. We got great matchups. Great stories from last week. We got videos. We got everything that you need is right here. So we're ready for a big edition. First off, let me give a shout out to our presenting sponsor here, the West Jersey Football Coaches Association, established to promote, improve. Make sure my mic's on, Rod.
You have to move it up.
I'm going to move it up? All right. Good. All right. West Jersey Football Coaches Association, established to promote, improve, and unite football in South Jersey. In less than 3 years, the association created the Battle at the Beach and has also dedicated itself to helping others. The association has donated more than $50,000 to date to provide scholarships through the National Football Foundation and the Touchdown Club of Southern New Jersey. The group has also donated to the charity Philly Faces, which helps those in need of facial reconstruction surgery. Thank you to the West Jersey Football Coaches Association for their sponsorship of the show. Also want to shout out our buddy Dave O'Sullivan, Glory Days Magazine founder. Sully's the reason we have this platform for you all to watch. Visit his new look site, sjglorydays.com, for all high school sports coverage locally. Mac.
Trib.
First, let's take a look back at our game of the week last week.
There's a bunch of games of weeks, but I know there was only one game of the week, but there were a lot of good games.
There was only one true game of the week for us, and I see Matt Besson here talking about Creek, and he wants to hear about Cedar Creek, and that's the only creek that matters for the second year in a row. Cedar Creek goes into Timber Creek in the Central Jersey Group 3 semifinals and wins 32-21. They outscored the Chargers 20-7 in the second half. Hit the over. 51.5 was the number Tom Padgett gave us last week. 1-0. Rod and I took the under. You took the over, Matt. Good job. 53 was the total.
But how about Padgett sticking the number pretty good, too? Setting the line.
Just goes to show Tom knows his stuff. He's right on it. I want to give a shout-out. First off, let's talk a little bit about Timber Creek before we talk about the victors here. Marcus Upton had 2 interceptions. He had a 103-yard interception return for touchdown. It was called back due to penalty. I was very impressed with him. Caden Brookins, Amir Reason-Dallas, Kadir Baldwin. Timber Creek looked the part of a very good team, but shot themselves in the foot. 3 second-half turnovers, a lot of penalties. I thought that.
They got dudes. They got guys. When you look at that going into the second half and then 27, we talk about it playoff time. You can't turn the ball over.
Yeah, you can't turn the ball over and you can't have unnecessary penalties. I thought there was a lot of that on the Timber Creek side. Cedar Creek, on the other hand, took advantage. Billy Smith throws for 212 and 3 touchdowns. Amir Dunbar, I liked the way he ran the ball, 87 yards on a score. Aleem Parks got the hat. He came up huge. 8 catches for 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, including the one that put the nail in the coffin for Timber Creek. He also threw a key 12-yard pass to Billy Smith and kind of some trickeration. Jimmy Melody said the tougher or more physical team and the more disciplined team was going to win this game. He told his team that before the game. And for the second year in a row, that was his team in this matchup as they go into Ariel and win the game. I thought Cedar Creek played this game like a playoff game. And I thought Timber Creek never really tightened the screws necessary to win a playoff game. Do you think that's accurate, Ron?
For sure. It's kind of tough when you get into it with Timber Creek, Cedar Creek. They've seen each other, right?
Yeah.
Coming into this game, you would have expected Timber Creek to just put them away when they had the chance. It was one point, I believe it was the second quarter. I said to you, my grandmom always told me not to play with your food.
That's true.
And I kind of felt like Timber Creek was playing in a way. They had the game in control,
Right.
And he just didn't put it away.
You got to knock it down. Look, playoff time, maybe regular season, Cedar Creek is like maybe a different animal, but this is,
Right.
it's a survival game.
Yeah.
And you got to close a survival game.
Right.
And you also, you got to realize you're playing with teams that are, lose and go home.
And go ahead, Mark.
Well, I just want to say, I think if these teams played a number of times through regular season and postseason, I'd like to see them play every regular season. I think it's a good matchup. I think they're fairly equal teams in terms of caliber of athletes and all that. They play a number of times. Maybe it's split. Maybe it's more Timber Creek. But when you get to the playoffs and the discrepancy is smaller, that is where mistakes really kill you. Last week before this show, right before, and we talked about it, Bob Knight died. And that week, I think Nick Sirianni had a picture of Bob Knight that he held up at his press conference. Bob Knight that was sitting there, and a sign behind him on his locker room said, "The team that makes fewer mistakes will win."
Well, that's
or that's what victory means. And really, I thought that was critical. And then the team that bounced back from their mistakes. I mean, Billy Smith threw a couple interceptions in this game. But what did he also do? He led them down to win the game. I really, really, really thought that
because
Cedar Creek found that way. They showed the difference. They had the mettle.
Well, when you're in these playoff matchups, in these type of game, like maybe not first round, okay, second, you get to, this was like a sectional final, right? Like this is the type of level this was, even though it was the semis. You can't have the mistakes, the turnovers.
Right.
I mean, my 88-year-old uncle, still alive, man, still alive, talks about when he'd come to, punting's a good play, Tim.
Yeah. Right.
Right? And he used the old gray hair saying is end every possession on a kick and you're going to win a game. Because you're either kicking an extra point, you're either punting the football, and you're flipping fields, and it's not always the sexiest thing, but when you fumble, you're giving up 30, 40 yards.
Right.
Because you didn't get a chance to punt the ball.
Well, I just go back and look at the one play that kind of was it was a huge play in the game. I believe Marcus Upton intercepted the ball, ran it back for a touchdown.
Yeah, right.
And it gets called back.
103 yards. So you can imagine, I think Cedar Creek at this
swing.
point is inside the 20.
Right.
So roughing the passer, instead of a touchdown going the other way, now it's first and goal.
Right.
And the guy who just ran 103 yards along with everybody else who has scored him has got to come back and play defense. One thing that I did notice about that series, Rod, they end up scoring, I think Aleem caught his first touchdown pass
corner.
On a corner route to the far side of the field, to the field side. Coach Melody calls timeout and draws the play up. I'm watching him in the huddle. The madman at work is great coach, Jim Melody, offensive guru, right? You're going to go here, you're going to go here, then you're going this way, even before they come. Which way? This way. You're going this way. Drew it up, boom, comes out, touchdown. Knew exactly what he was going to get. I thought he did a great job managing the game. But Cedar Creek, you've got to like the way they responded. Again, last year, they're in the first round. They're the 6th seed. They go into Timber Creek and win. The next week, they played Camden in the sectional semifinals and lost, I think, 28-7 or lost handily. They will get an option, again, to go back. So we've seen this play out. We'll see how it goes. But that was Central Jersey Group 3 semifinals, 32-21. Cedar Creek advances to the sectional final against Camden High. We will talk about Camden's game. We will talk about every game and every matchup that's coming up this weekend in terms of postseason action. There is a lot of good stuff. I see a lot of good people in the comments. Some folks, everybody is tuned in. We are ready, man. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this weekend. We're going to start with Groups 1 and Group 2 in this first segment. We're going to have a timeout, and then we're going to go into 3, 4, and 5. We'll finish up with the non-pubs and our game of the week, which if you've been watching all season, I think you know what it is, and I'm pretty sure you know it might be game of the year. So stay tuned. We'll be back right after this with the South Jersey Football Frenzy. You guys got to imagine what I was saying there. Central Jersey Group 1 final. Friday night at 7 p.m. Glassboro at 7-3 at top-seeded Shalleck 11-0. What happened last week? Shalleck against Shore. They win this game 16-14. Kenai Simmons had a great game, right? He's touchdown, runs 105 yards for another touchdown. Shalleck is down in this game 14-10. They get a goal line stand back, fourth down stop to get the ball back, and they have to engineer a drive in the last minute to go win it. And I believe, Rod, you have the clip of what Kenai Simmons did that'll live down in Shalleck lore here. Go ahead and play that thing. See here, Mac, you're down here, you're at your 37, and Shore is going to bring some heat. No, through that, breaks on it. Look at that. Still, 2 gets in the way there, gives a block.
What?
How about that?
Minute 20.
Minute and 23 left. Shalleck gets a win 16-14. Simmons threw 9 for 15, 122 yards and a touchdown. He ran for 105 yards and a touchdown. Jake Sidlacki had the game-sealing interception. He also caught the touchdown pass.
Rod.
Unbelievable.
I wasn't at this game.
You weren't?
No.
Okay.
I watched one clip.
You can tell whatever.
Well, you're 16-14. Would you send the house against that cat?
14-10.
14-10. Would you send the house against a cat?
Nah, definitely have 2 guys spying.
Right. And we've seen it. They do that in the NFL too.
Right.
Because that kid, you're in the huddle there and you're like, do not let that dude beat us. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, you want to bring an extra guy to kind of mush rush a little bit and bring a 5th or 6th. But anyway.
Hey, look.
That was a heck of a play. I mean, that obviously.
It was an unbelievable play, and in the open field, it looked like there was probably 6 guys spying him at that point. And he still just kind of ran all the way around.
Once he broke the line of scrimmage, done. Because they're in man coverage, they're in cover 0, cover 1. They're all backs turned. Athlete field done.
Well, look, huge moment, right? This is the type of moment you live for if you're a high school football player. And for Simmons to do that, he's been kind of the heart and soul of Shalleck all year. Shalleck, this fairy tale season it continues. At this point, it's not a fairy tale anymore. It's just regular for them. 11-0. To get that win, to host a sectional final, I don't think you could say enough about the job that Mike Wilson has done as head coach. And I think that moment right there, regardless of what happens moving forward, that is one that's going to be etched in the minds of everybody who was there and everybody affiliated with the Shalleck program forever. As not just a play that sends them to the sectional final, but a play that shows what this season is all about, and that's Shalleck finding a way to get it done.
Right, finding a way to win, and in these type of seasons, which they've had, is a question of, you now got a Glassboro team coming in, right? That's, you could say that Shalleck's the 1, and they are, and Glassboro's the 3, but I don't know.
Well, and let's say, for as good a job as Coach Wilson has done, so has Coach Breaker at Glassboro. To get to this point, young team now. They beat South Hunter in the 2 seed. They go on the road. They win this one in the semifinals, 20-0. Dominic Barr, 21 carries, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns. Amari Sabb runs for a touchdown. Glassboro has not given up a point in the playoffs. I think they've only given up, 27 points or something all season. This defense for Glassboro is tough, and it travels, and we know that because of this win at South Hunter. And look, this is going to be a great game between two teams that have been here in the past, in the not-so-distant past, but not the immediate past. It's been a few years since Glassboro's been up towards the top, since Jawan Johnson, Corey Clement and company, and then the Gauss brothers, of course, back at Shalleck. So these are familiar. Yeah, these are teams that South Jersey's aware.
Right, these programs have been there. Right, yes. For them, it's been a little bit. It'll be, again, great games all over, and this is going to be another one.
I know we got a lot of OBG in the house. You guys are going to probably have to hold on for a bit to I see the commenters.
But they want to hear. They want to hear Group 5. They want to hear Group 5 right now.
Group 4.
Oh, I'm sorry. They want to go 4. I'm sorry.
No.
We got to go in order. No. Trib. We got to go 1, 2.
OBG is always supporting the show, and we appreciate that. South Jersey Group 1 final. You better mark this one down right now as one of the best of the weekend. The matchup that many have waited to see, and we probably could have said from day one, this was the matchup we would get in a big-time game, whether it was going to be the sectional finals or whether it was going to be the state semifinals. You had a feeling there would be Woodbury and Woodstown, and there will be. Woodbury is 6-3. They are the 3 seed. They head to top seed of Woodstown is 8-2. Friday night, 7 p.m. Electric atmosphere at Woodstown always. They played earlier this season on the same field. Woodstown won in overtime, 27-21. It's also a rematch of the 2021 South Jersey Group 1 final. Woodbury won that game, 8-6. Woodstown's never hosted a sectional final that I know of, and they've never won one. So this is a big-time game. They beat Pennsgrove last week, 34-14. Pennsgrove had been stopping everybody on defense. They couldn't stop Woodstown. Max Webb threw for 119, 2 touchdowns. He ran for 1. Bryce Belafonte, the great back, for the Wolverines, 16 carries, 145 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Anthony Ford-Dale, 4 catches, 83 yards, and a touchdown. On the other side of things, Woodbury played Burlington City. Let's talk about the seeding in this bracket, shall we? I don't think it was quite correct. Middlesex was the 2 seed. They lost 60-15 to Burlington City.
A good football team.
60-15.
Well, City's a good football team.
City at Woodbury, if you had to rub your eyes and see if this was true, it indeed was true. At halftime, they were losing 51-0. Woodbury was ready, and a lot like the Bees that are down on that field when it's a little bit warmer out, they stung pretty quick.
Early and often.
57-0. Jaden Johnson, 8 for 10, 189 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He ran for a touchdown. Anthony Reagan, 4 carries, 105 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Ibn Muhammad, 3 catches, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think this is going to be an absolute throw off the gloves, bare knuckle.
Donnybrook?
Donnybrook. Bare knuckle Donnybrook, Mac. What do you think, man?
Yeah, well,
the cowbells are going to be going.
Well, the fact that they played already, is an overtime game, You know, looking on the outside, is Woodstown due to get that, to get Adams that championship, right? I mean, the program, that they've done such a great job down there, and they've been so close, and Woodbury, of course, was there last year and took care of it last year. I mean, they've obviously know how to get it done in the big time spots. So, and losing, I mean, you never want to lose a game, but when you lose a game to the team that you're playing in the sectional final.
You've been there.
Yeah, it's not, I'm not saying you'd rather have, but you know that revenge is real.
Revenge is real. What stands out to me about these teams is I think the courses that they've taken to get here may be different than we would have thought. Woodbury goes through a 3-game slide. Woodstown lost to Glassboro this season, 13-7, and they also Haddonfield opened it up on them late in the game and beat them. I think before the season you may have said, well, one of these teams may be 9-1, the other one might be 10-0, and they might be clashing. That wasn't the case, but as is so often the case, the cream rises to the top, and here we are. We say everybody's 0-0, and that's the way it is when the playoffs start. But to see the way Woodstown's been able to put it all together, score the ball. The Pennsgrove game, that's a rematch of a couple weeks ago, and we'd seen what Pennsgrove had done defensively. Woodstown, 34-14. They ran for 145 yards with Belfonte. I mean, they're clicking. They're very good up front. And then when you look at the skill guys that Woodbury has, tremendous. And I think it's going to be an incredible game, and it's one that deserves a championship background here. I think whoever wins this game, many will probably see them as the favorite to win the state championship in Group 1.
Sure.
But I think the other side of it's going to be great, too. Glassboro and Shalleck, the best Group 1 football is played in South Jersey, and that's not up for debate. So
yeah, I mean, 2 great sectional titles playing. Whoever wins each one's going to have a great semifinal game the following week. So, but got to take care of the sectional final first. Got to take care of this business. It's going to be worth the price of admission, as they say.
Yeah, it is. Now let's talk, Mac, about Group 2. Some familiar faces here. In Central Jersey Group 2, we have Willingboro, the second seed at 9-2. They rolled Pleasantville 57-29. Lamar Best threw for 4 touchdowns. He ran for 1. Just another day at the office for Mr. Best. Daniel Rivers King, a fumble return for touchdown. Willingboro, Pleasantville is a pretty good team, and Willingboro put up 57. Now, last year, at this point in the playoffs, Willingboro scored 50 in the semis. That was Central Jersey Group 2 as well, and that was against Point Pleasant Borough, who's 9-1 this year and who they will face in this sectional final game. They beat Cinnaminson 49-21. Matt Oliphant, 2 for 2, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's a pretty good percentage. 8 carries, 179 yards, and a touchdown. Jake Croce, 11 carries, 126 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Point Pleasant Borough, not lost much over the last few years, but lost to Haddonfield up at Rutgers in a regional championship. Lost to Willingboro last year in the playoffs.
Great program. Again, they've year in and year out they've done it. But this is look, we have a South Jersey bias, obvious.
Of course, it's South Jersey Football Frenzy show.
Yes, and Borough they step up this time of year.
Yeah, they won that game 50-30 last year.
Yeah, I'm aware.
And I think a lot of folks at this time of year we were saying, Willingboro, go down there, man. Show them what you're all about. They came away with a 50-30 win. I don't think Point Borough forgot about that, and they're certainly going to might approach this a little bit different than they did last year. But I love this Willingboro team for all the different things they can do. I think they're very versatile. I think they can run the ball. I think Best is about as good as we got in terms of quarterbacks in the area. I think he's very mature beyond his years. And I think this team, Coach Everett said at the beginning, this team needs experience. This team needs to grow together. I think they've done that through the year. We'll see what happens in that Central Jersey Group 2 final. This is one of 5 of these local sectional finals that has a West Jersey League team versus a non-West Jersey League team. 5 of them are already locked in. Group 1 and Group 3 the state finalist will be from the West Jersey League team. There's only West Jersey League teams left. We could have the same situation in Group 2. We do have a team left in every championship for sectional finals. Now, South Jersey Group 2, this is a similar situation. Friday at 6 p.m., Haddonfield at 9-1 is headed to Rumson Fairhaven, who's 6-4. Rumson defeated 5th-seeded Haddon Heights 28-7 on Friday night. 0-0 Toole, 9 for 17, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Kellen Murray, 16 carries, 121 yards and a touchdown. Jackson Gallagher, 3 catches, 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. Haddonfield beats Gloucester. They get revenge for last year, 17-7. Gloucester was a 3 seed. Haddonfield was a 2. Declan McCarthy threw for 91 yards and a touchdown. He ran for 1 as well. Charlie Klaus, 2 receptions, 55 yards and a touchdown. And I want to give a shout out here to Patrick Ryan, is a guy who does a little bit of everything for them. He's been excellent. Be sure to read Tom McGurk's story, the Courier Post, on Patrick Ryan's performance in this game. Try this, 15 total tackles and 2 interceptions. And that's how you win a playoff.
It's all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. He also plays tight end for them. Does a lot for them.
Yes, he is. He's does a lot. 15 tackles, that's a heck of that's a good day.
At this point in the season, you expect Haddonfield to be at this level. Rumson is another team you expect to be here. What we've seen in recent years, Point Borough and Willingboro are teams we expect to be here. There's been a lot of playoff success within these 4 programs, and here we are. This is what you would kind of call a blue blood Final Four for Group 2, right?
I think you're looking around all the sections, and everybody seems a little bit familiar now at this round, right?
Yeah.
You have a couple that come in and have a startup type program year, but this is programs tend to we've talked culture in past shows, we talk programs, we talk discipline, we talk this is like these are the kids that have gone to the youth football, that wear the jerseys to the Friday night games and Saturday games. We'll talk a little bit about it in Group 3, 4, 5 and games that I had gone to, and how those programs have set themselves up to just be next. And there's and that's what's happening. Haddonfield, year in, year out, Delano and boys getting to this game, and Rumson, if you're following Central-ish Jersey Shore football, Rumson's has had a huge amount of success.
Oliver Lilly, you've been here from the beginning, man. You are a big fan of the show. We love that you're in the chat. Good to see you. I think that what I like about this weekend as opposed to last weekend, I think you've got your Cinderella stories in local high school football and abroad. And when you get to this point, you see which slipper still fits and is turning into a program. And then you see the programs that are already programs and the established. I don't want to have a negative connotation here, but I can't think of a better way to say it. The title contenders versus pretenders. Obviously, these teams aren't pretenders. I'm not saying that, but we see who's
going home in the limo or who's going home in the pumpkin.
Who expects to be playing for 4th and 1 and the season's on the line and the title's on the line and everybody's watching on the streams or they're buying tickets 6 days in advance to see them play. There's a difference between that and we had one of our better seasons in a while and now we're here. There is a difference there. That's what I like about this week.
Rod, there's programs that plan their banquet, as we used to say, there's programs that plan their banquet right around Thanksgiving, and there's ones that plan their banquet the middle of December, right? Yes. Like, they just know. And for the 1 or 2 times every 5 years that they're not playing late in the season, they got to wait a couple weeks for the banquet. Yeah. But that's what they're used to doing.
I mean, you can kind of look at the brackets, and it's there for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been that way the last couple of years.
Right.
Some programs are pretty much establishing themselves as being always there. They're probably a new school, new programs, but they're right there in the mix every year around this time, and they know how to get over the hump.
Yeah. Right.
So
definitely.
It's just the way it is.
Been there, done that, as they say.
Shore versus West Jersey League in both of those Group 2 sectional finals. Best of luck, Coach Delano and Haddonfield. Best of luck, Wellingborough, Coach Everett. We want to see South Jersey continue to move on in these things. Now, groups 3, 4, and 5, compelling matchups. A lot of stuff to touch on. Big games. Again, it gets no bigger than this, folks. We can't wait. Great weekend of football. Stay tuned. Right after this, we'll go through groups 3, 4, and 5 on the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. South Jersey, let me tell you about my friends over at SRA Home Products. SRA has been building sunrooms, pergolas, and patio covers for over 25 years. They've built more than 9,000 projects in the Delaware Valley. I've had the opportunity to be around owner Mike Fody, and I have nothing but the best things to say about Mike and his crew. SRA is a gold accredited member of the Better Business Bureau, under the elite provider status with Home Advisor, and they've racked up a number of Best of South Jersey awards in the past. They contribute to multiple sport associations and are huge supporters of Williamstown football. Find them online at srahomeproducts.com. And folks, you learn something from this show every week. Mac has shown us that last week. He knows what a pergola is now. Isn't that right?
I do. I've seen them, and now I actually...
If you want one, SRA Home Products. Nobody does it better.
Right. Fantastic.
Central Jersey Group 3 final. We talked about Cedar Creek. They're 8-3. The 4 seed, they went in and beat Timber Creek, the top seed, who was previously undefeated. They knocked them off last week, 32-21. They head to Camden, 9-1, Saturday at noon at Farnham Park. They met last year. It was 25-0, actually. It wasn't 28-7. It was 25-0. Camden won that game in the South Jersey Group 3 semis. Rob Hinson seeking his 6th total sectional title. Camden defeated Homedale 21-7 last week. The 2 seed, they went down and beat the Hornets. Mackay Brunson, 16-21, 242, and 2 touchdowns. Dahani Cobbs, 5 receptions, 111 yards, and a touchdown. Brahim Long, love Brahim, man, great kid. 5 catches, 75 yards, a touchdown. Eric Lee, 2 picks. Camden High, the defense. And I will say this, I think the score will be a little bit lower than it was last week in terms of, 51 might not be the number.
51's not the number. What are we thinking? Probably in the early 40s, maybe late 30s?
I don't know.
No?
What do you think, Rob?
For this game?
Yes.
I went under last time.
Yeah, but what are we gonna set it at too, right?
Yeah,
I mean, this one's gonna be set. This one's gonna be set at.
Well, look, I think that this game is going to be pretty tooth and nail in terms of the style of the game. I really do. And I think that the mistakes could decide it, just like they did last week.
Right.
But I don't think a team is going to hit 30 points. That's my thing. I look at last year. I know last year was last year, but you look at these teams. Camden was a powerful team last year. They scored 25 in this game. They didn't give up any. I just think
I'm going under.
Okay.
The reason why I'm going under, this Camden defense is they're legit. This would be the best defense that Cedar Creek has seen so far, I believe. So that's going to be the matchup. Cedar Creek defense, I think they can play with Camden. That defense is relentless, man.
Do you think it's better than last year's defense? Yes or no?
I think they're a better unit than last year. I think they play together. It's an additional year that Coach Henson has been there, so his fingerprints are on that defense a little more. I think they play more as together as a team. So it's tough. Like I told you, Homedale, they haven't seen a defense like that before.
No.
Right. So it's one of those games. It's going to be a tight game. I'm going under.
It's the only Saturday game that we have in the Publix.
Right.
And that's Saturday at noon at Farnham Park. I had somebody ask me, our guy Dwayne asked, he wanted to come down from North Jersey. I think he is coming down. He asked, I'm guessing I should get there pretty early. I said, absolutely. I mean, you better get there as early as you can.
For
go find some parking nearby.
For sure. With the other school across the bridge, East Side, not playing, everybody's going to kind of gravitate to the Camden game.
Get there early,
Get there early.
Just to see Camden High get to the field, right?
Yes, you got to see the band come down.
Just to see the High get to the field, but it's worth it.
We said programs, Camden, Cedar Creek. You expect these teams to be here. I'll tell you what, I think it's going to be a heck of a matchup, and I know there's going to be a lot of folks waiting to see what happens.
I'm a little upset because this is one of the games that I wanted to see, but I won't be able to physically be there. Yeah. But these are two teams that I've been following. I like both of these teams, so it should be a good game, man. Hopefully it's a good back and forth matchup and lives up to the bill. One score
game till late. I think, as Rod said, I think it's going to be under 42 points. I mean, it's going to be one of those 20, 21, 14 deals.
All right, we shall see. Michael Scott with a good point here, and I should have said this at the top of the program, but thank you, Michael, for reminding me. If you want a ticket to any of these games, you have to buy them online. Any of these games, they all have to be purchased online. If you follow any of these programs on Twitter, they've tweeted out the links. I think you can go to the njsia.org website and somehow find under the football section where you can buy tickets. I don't think you necessarily have to buy them too far in advance. Don't hold me to that, but you do have to buy them online. Don't show up with cash and think you're going to get into the game because you will not.
No.
So just be sure, any fans out there, if you want to go online. I think they're $5 or something.
Hit up Donkeys after.
Yeah, just.
Oh yeah.
You go to Donkeys. You can. You can go over to the Burger Bar. Couple different places. Just text me if you guys need a spot
text Rod if you need something. South Jersey Group 3, Mac. We got Seneca, the 3 seed at 9-1. They defeated Highland last week, 21-6. Anthony Tirico, 11-16, 154 yards, 3 touchdowns. Zach Furon caught 2 touchdowns. Jason Shears caught the other one. Delsey defeated Manasquan, the 4 seed, 43-7. Typical Delsey win, right? Zach Maxwell, 64 yards passing, a touchdown. 11 carries, 59 yards, a touchdown. Dan Russo, 16 carries, 84 yards, touchdown. Xavier Wyatt, 4 carries, 68 yards, 2 touchdowns. Delsey last played Seneca in 2016. They won 42-22. Dean, I'm not sure. Dean asks if non-public's the same way with the tickets. I'm not sure on that, but I would check it out on NJSIA's website just in case. Mac, you saw Seneca up close in that win over Highland. They were up 21-0 until it was late. Bill Fisher and company back in the sectional finals, lost last year to Camden. What was your impressions of Seneca?
I mean, look, overly impressed. I mean, from coaches, Jay Donahue running the offense, Anthony Diorio running the defense, and of course Fish running the whole thing. Just kids, just playing, right? Like, just great to see, getting after it, causing turnovers, a lot of enthusiasm. Both, Highland was in a tough spot, right? Coming off not knowing, the old reissuing the equipment, et cetera, et cetera. But Seneca was, they were on all cylinders. And, first time Zach Furon, he's a fun high school player to watch.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, very physical, finishes his runs. What I noticed, too, is blocks his butt off, man. Right?
He really blocks.
Right. He put some guys
in the PG territory.
Right. He laid some dudes out. And that other stuff, right? Colin Walsh was all over the field, and Tirico plays a little bit older than your typical freshman quarterback. So again, Seneca not overly sized up front,
Right.
but coached well in the right spot, getting after it, physical, special teams. The whole bit. Fun team to watch. They're going to have their hands full this week. They know it. Fish knows it. But, it's, again, to be in that sectional final again, that's a big deal.
A lot of credit to Coach Fisher now. Back-to-back sectional final appearances. As we mentioned last week, before last season, I don't think anybody pegged Seneca to be where they were. Then they did it, and then they've come back and done it again this year. Their only loss, and it bears repeating, is to Paul VI team that won last week. We'll talk about them in the final segment of the show. And it was by 1 point when they decided to go for 2 instead of kicking the extra point for a tie. I think it's been an excellent run here for Fisher and company at Seneca. I think they're going to be in most every game they play. And with Delsey, we know the type of machine that they've been this year. Lost early to Winslow, have calibrated themselves into the Delsey of last year again, right? They've been pretty dominant. 43-7, and I look at these numbers, everybody getting some love. Maxwell, Russo, Wyatt, you know what Wayne Adair can do. The right side of that line, Big Tyler over on the right side, who didn't get to play last year.
Yes.
And he's over there, and he's getting it done, and he's pretty big. They're bigger than Delsey teams in years past up front.
Oh, yeah.
But I will say this, they really have been impressive. They expect to be playing in a couple weekends, and we'll see what happens. I think Seneca, they definitely have their work cut out for them. But
look, they got their hands. They got their hands full, and we know that. I mean, we're not. I mean, Delsey's is a different world, in the sense of when you see Delsey play, not your typical. Again, we've said this before, not your typical Group 3 program out there. In saying that, look, Delsey, I don't want to say one-dimensional, but they are. We know what they're going to do.
Oh, yeah.
You know what they're going to do. Now, they do it well, real well.
You know what they're going to do, but you don't know what they're going to do.
Well, because of the whole...
And
yeah.
that leads to the stats that Mark just kind of talked about, with everybody getting a little piece of it. You don't know where that ball is going.
Four-headed monsters over there.
Right.
Not two-headed, not three-headed. They got everybody in the thing. But for Seneca needs a turnover. Seneca needs, to kind of keep in the game. They need something. They need the breaks to go their way and those type of deals. And hey, look, you play them. And Seneca's going to play. They're going to play, meaning they're going to give it. They're going to make it a fight.
Let's rewind to last year at the same stage. Seneca played Camden High, right? Mm-hmm. Seneca's quarterback got hurt earlier in that game, right?
Right.
Camden High's quarterback also got hurt later in the game, right?
Right.
Okay. He didn't play in the state semifinals. The thing we forget about is Delsey's quarterback missed the entire playoffs. They're playing with a backup. And Maxwell is back this year, and he's running the show. And that's a big difference. I mean, they got to the state championship and almost won it without him, and now he's back. So I think that kind of fell under the radar because, we say, well, you're running that offense, you're handing it off. But the guy who's the maestro of that and all those different, like you said, those different looks, who's getting the reads, that was him, and now he's in charge. And you talk about a player that will go under the radar for a long time is this guy. I mean, he's been excellent at quarterback in that offense, and because of Adair, Shoppy last year, Russo this year, it gets lost how truly proficient he is.
Throws for 64, runs for 60, not whatever, but runs for 60, And
when you look at that, what we're talking about, even Maxwell back at quarterback, he's running the show, right?
Yeah.
But coming into the season, you have Russo, who, was a quarterback at a different school. Mm-hmm. And it just took him a little bit of time to understand his position. And right now they're just clicking. This Delsey season right here. This is what they They play the games all year for.
They wanted a little colder, right? They wanted
a little
right?
colder to
the
feel
November,
a little wet.
right?
You know?
Yeah, this is what they're built to do, as they say. And yeah, Delsey, I wouldn't be surprised. They're going to be playing a couple more weeks, but again, great. Seneca still, if I'm, Fisher's like this bulletin board stuff, right?
Right.
Hey, he's like everybody thinks that Delsey's.
Right.
But Delsey's pretty good.
I was just going to say something to that effect is I think South Jersey fans are very smart, right? And I think the parents are very smart, knowledgeable. They listen to us talk and they hear different things. We're not saying that Seneca doesn't have a shot.
Right.
No.
We're just saying that it's going to be tough. You have to play the right kind of game against this team because they are really good.
Yes, and to the point about Delsey, I feel like I say it every year at this time. The first South Jersey final I covered was Delsey against, I believe, Allentown.
Mm-hmm.
And Delsey won, I think it was 42-35 in double overtime at Rowan. And I asked this was before the hats off even. I asked the guy who won the game how he was going to celebrate, and he said, "I'm going to hit the weights when we get back.
I'm going to squat."
And to the point of programs, the good seasons.
We're a deadlift
When that's the mentality that it sticks with me. I'll never forget that. That's the mentality of a program, a town, through generations.
Oh, yeah.
You know why they're here. How about this? Will Hickson, I knew you'd be in here, man. The other Maxwell was the quarterback for Delsey, 2017 championship against Woodrow Wilson. That's right. And he also...
That was a good game.
And he was the quarterback. I was thinking about it last week when we were at Timber Creek, when they snapped the win streak. Maxwell hit Bourget on the pass in a flat, and he got the hat that game. Of all the star players on the field that day, it was Maxwell had 2 interceptions, I think, and Mason Maxwell, great player. There's always a Maxwell on Delsey. There's always a Klaus on Hadfield. That's 2 unassailable rights. That's Group 3, and just so everybody's clear, that Delsey game is at 7 p.m. on Friday night. Now, Group 4. I'm going to do you guys a favor. OBG, just mainland. I know there's a lot of green, there's a lot of orange and blue around right now. We're going to preview your game last. Okay, so if you need to go get a drink of water or something, you're all right.
Oh, they're the game of the week?
Game of the week.
Other game?
I think everybody knows. We have them number 2 and number 1 all year.
Go finish dinner.
Wheaton Field. Mikey says, let's get to the grits and gravy, OBG. You're going to have to wait a little bit longer, Mikey. You're going to have grits and gravy for dessert today, buddy. Central Jersey Group 4, Long Branch, the 6th seed, 6-4. They upset Brick Memorial, their short conference foe last week. 2 short conference teams, they beat them 21-7. Brick Memorial was the 2 seed. Ernest Reevy, 5 for 6, 133 yards and a touchdown. He ran for a touchdown as well. Devon Kraft, 117 yards. 17 carries, 112 yards, and a touchdown for Long Branch, the Green Wave. Winslow, they beat Hamilton 33-6. Deontay Ruffin, 14-21, 348 and 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. Cam Miller, 3 receptions, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hornsby, 3 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown. As Winslow gets the Atco battle by 27 and heads to the sectional final against Long Branch. This is Friday at 6 p.m. at Winslow. If you go, be sure to get a walking taco. Tell them I sent you. Mac, Winslow is definitely a favorite in this one. Long Branch kind of weaved its way through here. They don't score a ton of points. I think Winslow can score a ton of points. What do you think about this one? I've got to give a lot of credit to Ruffin, by the way, and the way he's performed the last couple weeks.
Right, coming back in, taking over, assuming the role of the offense. Winslow, churning out wins, getting where they need to be. They're going to host this sectional final, man. Can score a lot, will score a lot.
Will score a lot, he says.
No, yeah, they will score a lot.
All right.
you're in this situation here. We know we're going to talk about the game of the week, right? I mean, we've talked about it all year. There seem to be 3 prohibitive favorites in the Group 4, right? In South Jersey.
Are.
And hey, Winslow has not taken anything from Long Branch. I think Long Branch, big win against their local rival Brick. Brick's not Winslow.
Right.
Brick's not Winslow. Winslow is going to be poised for this one. You just got to be like if you're Coach Belton and crew. Hey guys, you know what's on the other side there, right? You got to kind of keep them in check and say, hey, we understand. Don't listen to the knuckleheads.
Don't listen to Mark.
Don't listen to the bald guy and the guy with the gel in his hair. Don't listen to those guys. We still got to go out. We just can't roll the ball out. We got to play. Got to play. But so Winslow's got to stay focused and take care of business against Long Branch.
Absolutely.
Because they know the winner of that obviously has the other side.
If Winslow wins this, it guarantees that the Group 4 state finalists will be from the West Jersey Football League, as the other side is West Jersey Football League as well.
Correct.
It was a matter for us of where these teams would end up in the brackets. I think it looked like we expected, like you said, this trifecta to be the cream of the crop in Group 4. Here we are. There's 3 of them, and Long Branch will try to pull the upset at Winslow. Friday at 6 p.m., Winslow exactly where they expected to be at the beginning of the season. Central Jersey Group 5. Washington Township, the 2 seed at 9-2. Will head to Toms River North, probably the top public team in the state, Friday, 6 p.m. They faced off last year, a battle at the beach. Toms River North won that game 28-21. Last week, Toms River North dispatched Freehold Township 54-13. Micah Ford, 3 for 4, 112 yards, 2 touchdowns, 11 carries, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he had a pick 6. Jeremiah Pruitt, 2 catches, 71 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mordecai Ford, 1 carry, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Washington Township beat Rancocas Valley, was the 3 seed, 19-7. Cole Aquino, 195 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Logan Perez, one of the best players in South Jersey, I think, playmaker-wise. Rod, you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he really can get it done. 8 catches, 155 yards, and a touchdown. John Franchi, 2 for 2 of field goals. Mac, Washington Township is the underdog in this one. As anyone in the state that's a public team would be an underdog against Toms River North.
Yeah.
What does Township have to do to win this game?
It goes back to what they can't do.
Right.
They can't make the mistakes. They can't turn the ball over. They can't be intimidated by the whole Toms River North, this, that, and the other. Saying that, Micah Ford's a different dude.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the 2 losses, I think, who did North lose to? Georgia and Alabama?
Red Bank and Donovan.
I mean, Toms River's they're really good. Really, really good. But Township's doing some fun things, right? I mean, again, this is the flip side of that. This is Coach Chat saying, look, these guys, everybody writing you off. They all think, Toms River North's just going to show up, roll up, and win it. It's just that Toms River North runs the type of offense. What they do is so methodical. I've been on the other. I've seen the other side of it.
Yeah.
Like it can be painful because I think in 2014 we lost by a touchdown, lost by a score. This is 9 years ago. But they converted like 12 third downs. It's like it's almost like they want to get into 3rd and 3. They don't want to get a first down on 2nd. They'll get it on 3rd. Well, I'm kidding, but they just keep moving the chains and just, and then there's another Ford.
Yeah.
They give him the ball. He goes 80. What the?
One way or another, what Washington Township's accomplished this year to make the final is a big deal. And I think we talked about program versus whatever. Township is a program now, again. And Shatsman's done a great job to this point. Now, I will say, last year they played in the first game. There's a scoop and score, or else it's 21-21. They played Tom. They could take. Yeah, look. They could go back and look and say, guys, like, the two teams in public schools that played Toms River North closer than anybody in the past 2 calendar years are us and Millville, both to a touchdown.
Right. I mean, look, that's what you're going into. You're Washington Township. You're like, hey, this is now they're showing 8mm the clicker from the back in the day, back in Tom Brown days, saying, hey man, we're back, we're Township, let's go.
If anybody can pull off an upset, I think they're equipped to be honest. I'm looking at some of the athletes that they have on the back end. Perez, they have Long. It's going to come to the guys up front. You may have to blitz, do some run blitzes and things like that. But I think they have enough to pull an upset off. I'll say this. Toms River is a heavy favorite, and we all can agree with that, right? However, I do think Township has enough to pull off an upset.
Look,
I could be crazy.
No, you're not, because what Toms River North does, Township schematically has to, like you said, the run blitzes, the different slants, get to the gaps, get upfield, they got to get them you got to rally to the ball, you got to get them on the ground, all those things. It sounds cliche, you got to just create long fields, right? Like make them have to go 80.
Exactly.
That whole bit.
Well, and I like, I think Township's pretty strong up front. I mean, Toms River North's a different animal up front, especially on the right side of that line. But Township's no slouch up front. They've been able to run against pretty much everybody this year. So, that also gives them a good chance. And they have guys, some playmakers on the outside. We talk about Perez. We talk about Deshaun Long. These are guys who can make some major plays. As Dean says, Township has some dudes. And this isn't like Sisters of the Poor showing up.
Right.
Like you said, not only do they have a possibility to do it, they have a possibility to do it because they got some serious players. And they got some good size up front. 55 on the defensive line is about as good as he had 3 sacks the other night when I saw him against Atlantic City.
And he's a freshman.
And they can score a lot of points. So I think that's going to be a really interesting game. And as Michael Scott says here, look, Seneca, Washington Township are teams with house money. Go in there, shoot for the stars, baby. I mean, you come back.
Listen. Empty the playbook, coach. Halfback pass,
right.
Double
South
reverse.
Jersey is pulling for you, Washington Township. I know that.
Yeah, no doubt. Fake punts, the whole bit.
The whole
right?
nine.
Don't,
Let it go.
Don't get on a bus leaving something out.
The other side of that bracket is also a Shore versus West Jersey League final. In Marlboro is 8-2, heads to Cherokee, who's 9-1, Friday at 6 p.m. Marlboro beat second-seeded Hillsborough, knocked them off 12-0. Sam Hirsch, a receiving touchdown. Luke Robin, 2 for 2 field goals for the Mustangs. Cherokee beat fifth-seeded Kingsway 28-21, second time they beat them this season. Murad Campfield, 26 carries, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a kick return for touchdown. Ryan Bender ran for the other touchdown. Leo Bluestein, a sack, 2 tackles for loss. Mac, you were there. You saw the game. Tell me about Cherokee.
Cherokee. It reminds me, it's the Cherokee of old, right? Like the team that you think of as Cherokee, like your fathers, or as they say, this is the Cherokee you think of. I credit Kingsway, they just didn't have the dudes, right? I mean, their Kingsway quarterback, love that kid. You had the Kenny Lyles, the receiver.
Benny Lyles.
Benny Lyles, I'm sorry. Benny Lyles, B. Lyles. So he's a player, man. He can fly, flat out. But just up front, size-wise, I mean, Cherokee looks like they're playing defense with 13 kids. It just feels like they got more dudes on the field getting to the ball. And the game, it was like one score at halftime, and then Cherokee, boom, returns the opening kickoff, and now it's 21-7. And they're just controlling the game, right? They're not doing anything like super sexy, but they're just getting first downs, punting the ball, playing defense. Kingsway's trying to chip away. But then they do make it 21-14. And then what happens? Cherokee goes on a methodical 6-7 play drive. Campfield, boom, 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 right up the chute. Now it's 28-14. It's like, you can see the air goes out of Kingsway again. And then they get a late score. I mean, but Glatz knows, those guys over there, they just know how to win, man. They just know how to win. you talk about everybody's complaining about the Eagles, right? How they win, right? How they win, right? I don't know. There's the oldest saying I love repeating is, man, I'd rather win ugly than lose pretty. And I'm not saying Cherokee wins ugly. I'm going to tell you what they do is they win. Right? They win. They got guys over there who have won. They know what it takes, and they got the kids on the field that buying in, and like the Bender kid, he completes it when he has to. He threw a pass at the end of the game to seal the thing in the fourth quarter. He's deceptively fast. The Padgett kid catches 10, 11, 10. The other kid 10, 11. Me butchering names, but they got kids who can play, man, all over the field. And talk about their linemen.
Yeah.
They break that huddle. They ain't kids with bellies, man. They're good-looking, big dudes that get after it up front.
I thought all year our two best Group 5 teams were Washington Township and Cherokee. They're represented in this Final Four here.
Agreed.
I mean, whatever you want to call it, these two sectional finals.
Agreed.
Interesting game. Marlboro pulled off a couple tight wins. I saw them last year against Washington Township. They beat them down there on a Saturday afternoon. They're a tough team. I think that's going to be a mighty interesting game. That's Friday at 6 p.m. at the Bowl. That's the South Jersey Group 5 Finals. We still got non-publics, and we still got Game of the Week, and we still got Knots of the Week. And there were a couple really good ones.
And it's a school night.
And it's a school
No,
night.
actually, it's not.
Oh, they're off.
They're off tomorrow. Are you? I'm not at the teacher convention. Rod, are you?
Nah. The teachers' convention, man, it just allows the kids to stay up a little bit later at night.
Right? Watch a little Maction tonight.
Yeah. Be screaming at your kids.
Who's Toledo playing tonight?
In the MAC.
I had the Maction going last night, Rod. No lie. I'm watching Northern Illinois. They lost the game, but then you got Central Michigan's playing Western Michigan, and then you had Ball State beat Northern Illinois, and then the third game going on. So I'm watching. You know how you hit the C button on the Xfinity? Sorry,
I don't have Xfinity.
you hit the C button, Rod, and you got the scores. My son's like, "What? Why get out of it?" I'm like, "No, I'm watching." They were all tied or one-score games up until 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, it was rolling.
I was looking through here.
But I digress.
I was looking through here because this is a good question about how many of these teams that are left were in the battle at the beach. And in looking through here, I think it was, I want to say it's 9. Paul to 6.
Paul to 6, Millville.
Holy Spirit, Millville, Mainland, Washington Township.
Cherokee was last year.
Toms River North.
Cedar Creek. Did you say
Cedar Creek. Timber Creek. Oh, Timber Creek was last week. Maybe it's 7 or 8. Either way.
So does the Battle of the Beach get you tested for the playoffs, or do good teams go to the Battle of the Beach?
I think
They
do a good job of picking some teams.
You think? We'll revisit that on the other side.
Non-public previews. We got 3 games in South Jersey that include South Jersey teams that we're going to talk about. Get over there with Matt. We got 3 South Jersey teams that are playing in non-pubs we're going to talk about, and we got the Game of the Week preview. We've been waiting all year for that, and the Knots of the Week. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with our final segment right after this.
Champions are made through training and hard work. At Zubac Athletic Performance, we have helped over 40 athletes reach the NFL and have dozens of NCAA players in multiple sports using our programs today. Located in West Berlin, New Jersey, we can help you and your athletes reach your goals. Visit our website for more information.
Thanks for hanging with us. All right. Poll to 6, 8-1, the 8 seed in non-public A. They are going to Bergen Catholic, the top seed, Saturday at 1 p.m. The last time these two played was in 2014. Bergen Catholic won 48-20. Poll to 6 beat Notre Dame 51-41 last week. Dom Santiago, 3 total touchdowns. How about Matt Murad? 32 carries, 336 yards, 5 touchdowns running the ball. Really big game for him. Poll to 6, big win for them getting it. Now at Bergen Catholic, it doesn't get much tougher than that, Mac. I don't know, man. What? It ain't easy to beat Bergen. I mean, they have been the state's best team this year.
Yeah, they have.
And Poll to 6 has had an excellent season. Big win last week. But it is tough to go up there and play.
It's tough sledding to go play non-pub A, Bergen Catholic, 1 seed at Bergen, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know, that's what they do. But like you said, I mean, Poll to 6 gets the opportunity to, you know, we know how many people live up there, right? You know how it's structured up there with the bodies they have, and they got a lot of dudes. They got a lot of dudes, you know. And Coach Scuderi, you know, he's been in these games, right? But he's got a young team. You know, he's going up there saying, you know, if you had, you know, gun to his head, he wants to go because he wants his kids to see the opportunity to what it takes, to be that type of in that stratosphere.
Yeah. Now, think about this. On the other side of it, it may be tough for them to reach a semifinal, but on the other side, got a pretty good shot to reach the semifinals. We got St. Augustine, the 5 seed, 8-2, headed to Donovan Catholic, the 4 seed, 8-2, Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Donovan Catholic won this matchup in the first week, or week 0, 21-16. Last week, they beat Paramus Catholic 31-28. Todd Lambertson at quarterback, 19 of 28, 148 yards, 3 touchdowns. Najee Calhoun, excellent running back for Donovan Catholic, 2 touchdowns on the ground. The Hermits beat St. Peter's 35-14. Julian Turney, 23 carries, 196 yards, 4 touchdowns. Paris Pratt with a touchdown catch. You got to think, Matt, you know Coach Lancetta very well, as do I. And I would say 23 carries, 196 yards, and 4 touchdowns is exactly what Coach Lancetta wanted to see last week. Yeah, big win for the program to win at home. And now you go back, you play a team you've seen already with a chance to make the non-public A group semifinals.
Right. Team you've played already, and obviously close game, 21-16. You know, I think Lancetta's teams, and especially these Augie teams he has, have gotten better and better each week throughout the season. I think, what's the over-under on Julia Turney's carries, right? I think 25 is the number, because that's, you know, he keeps it simple. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Ball control, defense, and that's how that's Coach Lancetta. That's how he's won a lot of championships in his world.
That's Saturday night at 6:30, and as always, as we say, you know, this time of year, St. Augustine, go get them. Go up there, beat somebody in North Jersey, or I guess this is the Shore. Non-public Group B, Holy Spirit, the 4 seed, 8-1. They also are going to face a Shore opponent, Red Bank Catholic, 8-1, the top seed in non-public B. This is Friday at 7 p.m. Red Bank won last year's semifinal matchup, 50-21. They had a bye in the first round. When you look at how about Holy Spirit and the way that they finished that game last week, Mac? They beat Immaculata 36-33 in an absolute thriller in Absecon. They're down 4 with 42 seconds left. Ty Costabile hits 16-yard pass to Ryan Mallon, hits a 22-yard pass to Matthew Abbott, and then a 21-yard pass to Abbott again for the go-ahead touchdown with 11 seconds left. Place is going nuts. Costabile finishes 15-26, 264, 4 touchdowns. Amir Hicks runs 29 carries, 147 yards, and a touchdown. Tamir Jones, 4 catches, 115 yards, 2 touchdowns, and like I said, Matthew Abbott with that game-winning touchdown catch. Big deal as Holy Spirit gets that win. Again, they have their work cut out for them. Last year, Red Bank really handed it to them, and the Caseys are very good again this year. Best of luck to Holy Spirit in that game in the non-public Group B semifinals. Now, knots of the week. How many we got, Rod? We got 2. First, we're going to start out with Joey Zamat. We just got 1? We got 2. Let's take a look at Joey Zamat. Great year at linebacker for Millville. Here he is against Shawnee, and I mean, he just sits and jumps, and boom. I mean, you're talking 41 yards. That's a house call, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Brother of the quarterback. Now, Jacob.
He's moving like a running back there.
Jacob, the quarterback. Josh, quarterback, formerly of Holy Spirit St. Augustine. Joey, linebacker. His dad played linebacker and said that, there's been a lot of headlines for those quarterbacks through the years, but there's a special bond with him and his pop that they're the defensive guys. And excellent. He's had an incredible season. We saw him against Cherokee. He had an interception. He almost ran back. He also deflected a pass. That was the interception that was run back for a touchdown.
Of course, the linebackers got the edge
Really, really good.
Think about it. Lay off the quarterback. How many times you hear, lay off the quarterback, lay off the quarterback? All the defensive guys hate, right? The jersey, the red jersey, whatever Millville puts on the quarterback. Not that the quarterbacks aren't tough, but the linebacker, and he can move too.
Yeah, he really can. Now, we saw this one live, Rod. This is our knot of the week. Justin Castillo of Cedar Creek. Mac, take a look at this, man. This was the first point Cedar Creek had in this game. One-handed, got it, snags it, rumbles 84 yards for a touchdown, makes a man miss, gets a block. 84-yard pick six, and then we saw a 103-yard pick six not long after that was called off due to the roughing the passer. But that's an incredible play. Congratulations, Justin of Cedar Creek, the one-handed pilfer, and he runs it back for 6. Now we're going to hear from Coach Tom Padgick.
Live or?
No, not live. But Coach Tom Padgick is Jersey Gridiron Scout, the premier position training academy and college recruiting platform for all middle school and high school prospects in the tri-state area. Registrations are now live for indoor winter training. Session 1 starts January 8th at Mavericks Training Facility in Morristown, New Jersey. Email Coach to confirm your spot at jerseygridironscout@gmail.com. All positions are offered, as well as speed development training with Nick Dell of Elevate Performance Club. Recruiting consultation is a part of the training, so let's plan your journey today. For more information, check out the website, jerseygridironscout.com. Follow Tom on Instagram at jerseygridironscout and on Twitter at Coach Padgick, P-A-J-I-C. Email Coach today to confirm your spot at jerseygridironscout@gmail.com. Tom's going to give us a breakdown of the game of the week. Here's what he has to say. Players to watch. Now, if you haven't been paying attention, it's South Jersey Group 4. It's the team we've had at number 2 much of the season, mainland, if not all the season, and the team we've had at number 1 all the season in Millville. Rankings come back after the playoffs, by the way. Jamie Tyson had a pick 6 last week, 6'2", 185-pound senior, wide receiver, defensive back. Probably doesn't get enough recognition in South Jersey, Coach Padgick says. He's one of the best two-way players in the state. His production the past 2 years has been outstanding. Very instinctive at corner, plays the ball well in the air, long, possessive, great ball skills. At wide receiver, he's a play away from taking it to the house, plays with great body control, and runs precise routes. Unanimous first-team all-conference defensive back, first in South Jersey and second in the state with 8 picks. 3 of them he's taken to the house, 25 tackles, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 forced fumbles, and he will play at Villanova next season. On Millville's side, Naeem Sharp, explosive player, keeps defenses honest in the run game, especially if your focus is on the pass game. He's also really good in the screen game for them. He's quick to the edge, a one-cut back, and he can go. He leads the team in rushing with 515 yards, averages 7 yards a carry, and has scored 3 touchdowns. He had the game winner last year in the state semifinal game against Mainland, scoring from 17 yards out late in the 4th, as Millville came out on top, 18-14. Now, last week, Mainland beat Colts Neck 49-7. Stephen Ordilli, 10 rushes, 141 yards, and a touchdown. Jamie Tyson, we just talked about him, 2 receiving touchdowns. He had a pick 6. And Cohen Cook, 5 carries, 58 yards, 2 touchdowns. Millville beat Shawnee 41-7, second time this season. Jacob Zamat, 10 of 17, 217, 2 touchdowns. Joseph Zamat, as we showed, Joey, had a pick six. But Latsir Brooks, Mr. Excitement, they call him. I think if you paid for a ticket to see him do what he does, I think you might have got
8 catches
worth.
8 catches for 202.
Might have got your worth. 8 catches, 202 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And he is crawling closer to records. Mac. He's going to have a lot of records.
That's 25. He's like the old Peaches on Haddonfield Berlin Road, or where was that?
I'm not sure. But Millville has won the last 2 sectional finals. They're looking for their third. They're looking for their second consecutive state championship. Last year, as we said, these 2 teams played at Cherokee in the sectional semifinals. It was 18-14. Millville won that one late. It was a lot colder than it's going to be on Friday, and it was also a neutral site.
Unbelievable game. Unbelievable game last year to get to the state final.
Now, it was a great game.
Yes, it was.
And Tom Patrick says the over/under for this game is 45.5. Now, let's think about that. Think about what you think. 45.5. Will Hickson has a good fact. Chris Crowley, a welcome addition to Millville, is the OC. He was the head coach at Wilson, 2008 to 2011. Coach Ayala was an assistant. Those two now swapped spots, but are on staff at Millville. And shout out to Coach Chuck Core, the defensive coordinator for Millville, does an excellent job. On the other side, of course, we know Tim Watson on defense, Clyde Folsom on offense. Look, this one has everything you need. The green, the blue, the white, the orange. At Wheaton Field on turf now, I was going through and looking at this game, Mac, and here's what stood out to me in terms of the matchup. We talk about this mainland offense, the way they're able to run the ball consistently, furiously. Pretty much whenever they want it, they can run it. Now, on the season, they've run the ball an average of about 30 times a game, average of about 4 touchdowns a game, and 8.38 yards per carry. 8.38 yards per carry. It's second and 1.7 when they got the ball, when they run it.
But they're not playing Millville every week.
That is what last year we teased it as what we talk about. Unstoppable force, immovable object. Millville on the season has given up 685 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns running the ball. The first game of the year against Toms River North, they gave up 310 rush yards on 50 carries and a touchdown. So if you say, well, that's the best team in the state, let's isolate that game. Let's look at the other 9 games. Let's try.
You're taking the best out, the worst out.
Let's just take the best out and let's see what happened the last 9 games.
How the sampling works?
That's 207 carries for 375 yards and a touchdown. That's 1.8 yards per carry.
And I'm going to tell you, some of that's after they have the guys sitting on the bench when the games are over.
Now, we said last week, what can Shawnee do? Yeah, I said, I don't know. Last time they faced them, they ran for 39 yards. We'll see what. Well, it was worse this time. 21 carries for 30 yards. The Millville run defense has been nothing short of incredible. Now, if you pass against them, that's also a problem because they've forced 22 turnovers. 17 of them have been interceptions, and 8 of them have been run back for 6. The Millville defense against the mainland offense is what everybody wants to see in this one, Mac. The run, the wing tee, all the stuff inside and out. It's what you played for Coach Folsom growing up. You know it. You know it well. And you've seen Millville up close this year. You've seen that defense up close. So what do you think about this match?
Right. Well, I mean, it does give problems when a team such as Mainland does have the weapons we talk about to occasionally.
Cohen Cook, right?
Right.
You got Jamie Tyson.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Franchini can get it out there.
Right. Here's the problem, though. We talked about this last week. What did we say, Rod? That how many did Millville need to put in the box to stop the run? We were like 5.5. Mm-hmm. I mean, now will they have to be 6 in the box, 6.5? But whatever, they got dudes who can cover all over the place. 22 picks, right? Yes. 22 picks.
17 picks.
17, I'm sorry. 17 picks. What mainly can't do is get themselves in a predictable run-pass situation. You know, run on first, run on second, and then be in a 3rd and 7, right? It can't be 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 7. So Mainland might have to leave a little bit of their comfort zone, I would think, a little bit. I don't know. But if they're averaging 8.3, I know. But they haven't been averaging 8.3 versus a defense like Millville.
The strength of schedule is much different in terms of who they've played. That just is what it is. But we know what Mainland is capable of when you look at how they beat Washington Township in the opener. We know these two teams are among South Jersey's best. And this is the game we've all wanted to see from the beginning.
Yes.
And I'll be quite honest with you, in talking to Rod about this before the show. When Millville walked off the field celebrating last year at Cherokee, when they'd just beaten Mainland, I could have told you right then we'd see them back at some other situation, either in the South Jersey final or the state semifinals again the next year.
Right.
And we'll run it back and see what happens. And here we are. Now, the run of success that Millville's had the last couple of years has been unbelievable. And I'm not discounting the offense of Millville, which is extraordinary. I'm not discounting the defense of Mainland, which is extraordinary. But strength on strength, run defense, run offense, this is going to be a fun one. It's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
I say under 45.5.
Yeah, I think it will be as well. I just, we keep, when you start saying the defense of Millville is underrated, we say it every week. So they're not underrated. They are lights out, arguably best defense in South Jersey.
I'd say their defense is probably, I've been here about a decade. I'd say in that decade time, I think it's probably one of the top 2 or 3 defenses that I've seen.
Right.
Because I think anybody on the back 5 is a threat to take it to the house if they get it and they don't drop it. And then I think their front 7 is extraordinary.
They just get to the ball. They're big enough up front.
And I think they're coached extremely well by Coach Core. I think he does a great job.
They do it right. They're gap sound. They get to the ball. They rally to the ball. They get there with violence. They get there with aggression. The D-backs take care of business. They're all, they're just. It's going to be, This is the one where you got to control the football if you're Mainland. But controlling the football, it's easier said than done, right? When it's 2nd and 8, a lot of times it's 2nd and 11 when you play Millville. I mean, they're making plays on basic run plays, but teams lose 2 yards.
Mainland will have an excellent game plan, and they've got, no pun intended, the horses to achieve it.
No doubt.
They've been, again, no pun intended, chomping at the bit to get back here and to see Millville in this game. I think these are 2 of the best public teams in the state, and I think it's going to be mighty fun, and I think everybody who is buying these tickets online is going on. If you're not affiliated with the other programs that are playing on Friday night, and every man, woman, and child that's a South Jersey football fan,
get to Wheaton.
Is either at Wheaton Field or watching it on a stream.
It's gonna be nice.
Rod,
it's gonna be nice,
what
right?
do you think?
I think you're right. Everybody wants to kind of see this game. It's going to be an interesting game, man. Both teams have been kind of waiting for this day, right? Like we talked about, they kind of knew that this was going to come at some point.
Right.
If you're Mainland, you got to come in a little bit ready to go. I mean, you've been waiting for this. Literally, you are a yard away from winning that game. Mm-hmm. And, it's going to be one of those games, man. It's something that you've been building up, getting ready for. It's going to be tough, man.
Right, but
it's going to be tough.
There's just so many weapons on Millville.
Yeah.
They just got you got to be covering the opening kickoff, man. Like Millville's gonna be bouncing off the walls to take that thing back. It's just stuff like again, the special teams part of the game, the turnover part of the game. This is gonna be a well played football game. I don't see turnovers happening too much. These are. But for Mainland to be
That's
in,
what you need.
That's what Mainland needs, right? They need a break. They need a short. Look, now all of a sudden you get some short fields. That's a different story, right? Short field means, you can run it 4 times in a row, because you can get 2.5 yards a carry.
So one thing I will say, just thinking about it, when Millville played Cherokee. Cherokee was doing some things to keep that game close. What killed them were the 2 turnovers.
Right.
I mean, if you think about the turnovers, that's 14 points. So if, you don't want to turn the ball over. Millville is a very explosive team. So interceptions, fumble recoveries, they're scooping scores. Like where other teams are falling on them, they're turning them into points.
They're sharks. Like when you play Millville, like when I saw Millville live against Lenape, right? And Lenape hung around for a quarter and a half, and then it was the halfback pass, and boom. Now it's 13-3, and then they come out of the half, and then I mean. I forget what the final was, but it wasn't very close.
Right.
And for a quarter and a half, you're thinking, all right, Lenape's hanging with these guys, right? Like, once you pinch Millville in the back of the arm, like my 6-year-old son I used to do, boom, they go, right? And when they go, it's like it's sharks for them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking here, 36, 50. Millville has played the tougher schedule, and I think that they've demonstrated, when you look at their schedule, they've handled everybody.
Yeah, I don't think it's a question. I think it's a consensus that we all think that Millville has been the number 1 team.
Yeah,
and they've played like the number 1 team. Everybody has a puncher's chance, man.
No doubt.
I don't.
This is going to be a brilliant game. And if Winslow wins on the other side of the bracket, the winner of this game versus Winslow, I think is also going to be a brilliant game. It's just, every year there's games where to get to cover them and be a part of it is something like,
right.
I'm getting up early for a week, excited for this game. I mean, we've been waiting for this game, and the fact it's going to be here is it's like Christmas. Like Friday morning, I'm up at whatever time, and I'm already in there picking out the wardrobe. Like, oh, what's going on? We're going. I'm going to go back and I'm going to look through all the stats. I'm going to rewatch the show. I'm going to listen to it on Spotify. I'm going to send it to everybody I know. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome, man. This is why.
Players make plays.
Yeah, that's right.
Players make plays.
Yes. And we I mean, in our Knot of the Week, we just saw why they are who they are.
Yes.
You have a linebacker.
He'd be starting running back at 70
man.
Other schools. You know that. How many schools do you start running back at?
Right.
75 in South Jersey?
Right.
It's going to be a great game. We'll be there.
The middle linebacker, I just want to say this. I want to give Watson props. I think Watson is really good.
Very good.
If that's somebody who can disrupt the pass game from Millville, is going to come from an edge guy. He's really good. And it's Cornish, I believe, right?
Yeah.
The linebacker from Millville. He is a dude. He's legit. So those 2 guys are the guys defensively that I think can disrupt this game and, get it going one way or another. Because Mainland's going to run, so you need your linebackers, the Zavants and the
And we always talk about like Tyson or Dilly, Brooks. Zamat, games like these, I think if you go back and look at this preview from last year when they were playing in the state semifinals, I don't think the player that we said is the guy to watch was Naeem Sharp. All 5, 6 of them, 5, 7 of them. And he was the difference maker. So whoever that difference maker is often a guy maybe you didn't have. Now, Tom Patrick says this year, look out for him.
Yeah, but Naeem Sharp still plays.
Yeah.
He's still Millville.
Wheaton Field, Friday night, number 1 versus number 2, the South Jersey Group 4 finals. Good luck to everybody in the West Jersey Football League this weekend. Hopefully we come back here next week. We're talking state semifinals. We're talking 5 full-on all West Jersey League matchups. But hopefully we see some great games this weekend and prepare for still 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Postseason football.
It's good stuff.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back next week, 7 p.m. South Jersey Football Frenzy Show.
10-9-8, 76ers, maybe.